Welcome to Daily Planning for Fruitful Living, bringing the hope of Jesus to the world around us, one fruit at a time. Hi, I'm Leann, and I'll be your host today. We're talking about how hard it can be to love others. We're glad you joined us. Have you ever noticed it's not easy to love others? But why is it so hard? Isn't it supposed to be easy? Sure, for those far away, like the children that we sponsor in Africa, they're easy to love. They don't ask for much, and we don't expect much in return. But it seems the closer we get to others, the harder it is to love them. Think about it. People in the community that you know or don't know, not so hard. Coworkers, maybe a little more requirement. How about neighbors? Some neighbors can be demanding and difficult to love. Other neighbors, easy. Some you don't even talk to. Friends, little bit harder, especially close friends. They ask a lot of us. Relatives can be incredibly difficult to love. They have their own ways, their own agendas. But what about our immediate family? They are the toughest of all. I don't know about you, but I often find it's easier to love a stranger than to love someone I know. And what is up with families, anyhow? Why is it so hard? Just look at the number of broken families in our world today. They're everywhere. I sometimes feel like there's more step families than there are just core families. I'm not sure if that's what you call them, but it seems like everyone has a stepmom or a stepdad and siblings that don't speak to one another or parents that don't talk to their children. They may even live close in proximity and yet they never see them. Why is that? Shouldn't it be easier to love your husband than to love your neighbor? Maybe it should be, but it isn't. Luke 6:27 says, "Love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst." Maybe we should change enemies to family, because when we get close and do life together with people, loving them gets hard. Sometimes we act more like enemies than family. When we have daily interaction with one another, when we share responsibilities, when we have to share resources, assets, or make decisions together, we expect more of each other, yet we often give less. When we get close to others, the way we look at them begins to change. We begin to see their faults more than their worth, and we see our worth more than our faults. This makes it hard to love and hard to be loved. We're not exempt. It's for everybody. No one really has it down. Last week, we went down to Hollywood Studios, and it was to be a day of fun in the park with the one I love, just Greg and I. And it was anything but a day of fun. We could not agree on anything. And it just became harder and harder as the day went on to really love one another. And each one of us wanted our own way. And we each thought we knew the better way, if you know what I mean. And I would say, let's go right. And he would say, let's go left. And I would say, let's make a plan. And he'd say, let's just walk and see what happens. Or I'd say, let's go on this ride. And he'd say, the line's too long. And it just was hard. We were not loving one another. It, when we see pictures of Jesus on the cross, we see beautiful skin and we see him just hanging there. We don't see the suffering, but trust me, he suffered tremendously for all. It was hard. So how did he do it? How did Jesus love when it was hard? How did he find the strength? What motivated him to sacrifice so freely? How did he do it? For him to love selflessly, sacrificially, enough to endure tremendous suffering, he predetermined that we were worth it. We were worth his love and his suffering, even death on a cross. Now, worth is not to be confused with worthy. We know we are not worthy. That would mean we earned or deserved his love. But to Christ, we are worth it. Worth it. Love is not earned or deserved. It's given freely. And it's given by choice, a decision that says you're worth it. His suffering and dying for us is the ultimate demonstration of love freely given. You bet it was hard, beyond hard, but he had already determined we were worth it. Just to confirm, if we were to ask Jesus today, would he do it again? Guaranteed he would say yes, without any hesitation. Jesus continues to see us as he created us to be. He uses a lens of love to see past our faults to our worth and his love for us. Using the lens of love means choosing to see someone in their most favorable state, the way God created them. Even though you know there's another condition, you look past it. At Hollywood Studios, there's a gondola called the Skyline. It transports people from the park to nearby resorts. We decided to jump on it, eager to take a break from Hollywood Studios, from the crowds, from the stress, from the fault finding and the self-promoting, from the state we were in. As we left the park, we started to let our guards down and enjoy the beautiful surroundings. We started looking at each other through the lens of love and recalled what we meant to one another. We went back to the park and we enjoyed the rest of the day. We chatted and smiled while waiting in line. We walked together holding hands. We no longer cared about which ride we went on next or if we even went on a ride. It was no longer hard to love one another. It was a walk in the park. When we choose self over sacrifice for someone we love, it's our loss. We miss out on the opportunity to give and receive love. Loving others is not easy. Sometimes it can be extremely hard, but it's worth it. There is no greater love than to lay down your life for a friend. Here's some things we can do to help us love others and show them how much they are worth, even family members. Try these things. Admit loving others is hard and start each day with prayer, asking the Holy Spirit to help. Look at others through God's lens of love, seeing them as he created them. Fill up on God's love each day. It's much easier to love others when you've been loved by the Father. Don't be a fault finder. Use words for encouragement and building up of others. Consider others more important than yourself. And remember, loving others can be hard, but they are worth it, and so are you. Have a great day.